Welcome back. Now, we generally don't have a segment 5 here on News in Focus, but today, of course, we've decided to make it a bit of an exception. This is as Standard Bank has introduced a Sharia compliant overdraft facility in Southern Africa, expanding its range of Islamic finance products. The facility is based on the Sharia principle of wakala and offers a non-interest alternative for businesses needing short-term funding. Joining me now, I'd like to welcome the head of Standard Bank Sharia Banking, Mohammed Ameen Hassen. Mohammed Ameen, always a pleasure having you on. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Faraz, thanks for having me, and salam to all the viewers.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Let's talk about this, Mohammed Ameen, the Sharia compliant overdraft solution.
So historically, if you look at Islamic finance in Southern Africa, we've always been on the back foot in trying to play catch up to existing banking products and providing Sharia compliant alternatives. One of the products that have been missing in the Islamic finance ecosystem within the African continent for a very long time now has been a fluid working capital solution for businesses. And if you look at the lifeblood of any business is cash flow, where you've got this mismatch between debtor and creditor, and generally an overdraft has plugged this gap for businesses through the years. Now, there hasn't been a Sharia compliant alternative to this product, and over the years the industry has found different mechanisms that was filled with administrative friction to plug this funding gap. But alhamdulillah, we've come up with a solution which we believe that will fund this gap and allow the business to still maintain that cash flow fluidity that they would have ordinarily received.
Mohammed Ameen, how is a Sharia overdraft structured to obviously comply with Sharia banking overall?
So if you look at a conventional overdraft that's interest bearing, the subject matter of that contract is money. The bank lends you money and charges you for the use of that money. The fundamental difference from a Sharia compliant perspective is it's based on the Sharia investment agency principle of wakala bil istithmar, where we appoint the client to take these funds that we are providing with them, deploy it into the working capital of their business, and ensure that they sell their goods and services of that business at a minimum margin on our behalf. Anything that the client then makes above that margin is an incentive for the client to keep for their own. So the primary difference is where on a conventional contract, the bank gives you money and charges you for the use of that money. In a Sharia contract, we appoint the client as our agent to deploy this money through the working capital of their business and sell their goods and services at a minimum margin.
Mohammed Ameen, this launch of the product, and of course you were speaking about this being a change for Islamic banking in South Africa. But what does this mean going forward for Islamic banking in this country of ours?
I think what it demonstrates is that the Islamic finance industry is reaching a particular maturity in Southern Africa, where previously we were unable to access certain forms of financing because the technology or the rate at which the market was developing was not yet ready to adopt certain products. Globally, Islamic finance is a very mature industry, reaching the $5 trillion number. In South Africa, it used to operate at the peripheries of the industry. But with this innovation and with this product now coming through, we can see that Islamic finance is something becoming more mainstream. Our businesses have access to product that are on par with the very mature conventional part. And I think where we stand now is businesses can no longer say that there are no Sharia compliant alternatives to their needs. There are Sharia compliant alternatives. This plugs a very critical gap in the Islamic finance ecosystem on the continent. And I think businesses will be proud of this solution, and hopefully it will be an aid to grow small and medium enterprises in our country.
How does the solution align with the broader strategy at Standard Bank Sharia Banking?
Look, we believe that Africa is our home. We have as our purpose as a group that Africa is our home and we drive her growth. And if you look at the landscape of Africa, the vast majority of the African people ascribe to the faith of Islam. Nearly 65% of sub-Saharan Africa ascribe to the faith of Islam. North of the Sahara is 90% Muslim. And if you look at the global dynamics, nearly 18% of the 2 billion Muslims of the world reside on the continent of Africa. So in order for us to compete and have a compelling banking proposition on this continent, we need to ensure that we have a compelling Sharia compliant proposition. Now, we've started off and focused on the South African market because it is the most sophisticated and mature financial market on the continent. And inshallah, our intention is, now that we've understood the funding continuum and banking product continuum required to have a compelling banking proposition, we, inshallah, over the coming years would look at taking what we've built in South Africa and scaling that into our African operations.
Mohammed, I mean, surely this paves the way for future innovations in Sharia banking, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It demonstrates that the system of Sharia is adaptable. It demonstrates that the Sharia can plug into any way of life or any system and still ensure that you can benefit from best-in-class technology, best-in-class financial regulation, best-in-class banking solutions, all while still maintaining Sharia compliance. So I think this product is testament to that. And as South African consumers, business and personal consumers, we can see that coming through within our South African Islamic finance ecosystem. It's something that I think we can be proud of as South African Muslims, that we're leading the charge of innovation in Islamic finance.
Ameen, absolute pleasure having you on. Shukran for joining us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
That's Mohammed Ameen Hassen, who is the head of Standard Bank Sharia Banking. Well, that's all we have for you here on News in Focus from myself, Faraz Patel, and the rest of the team in Johannesburg. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.